Cass. Tada! Podcast voiced by Mr Tenn Pupp. Original post written by Locke on March the 7th, 2011. The room swam hazily as Cass cracked open her eyes. She felt utterly wretched, nauseous and fever-hot. Her body itched as if there were insects crawling under her skin. Blearily glancing around, she registered all the blood in a disinterested, distant kind of way. It seemed to be everywhere, smeared in blackening patches over the bedding, the walls, and, she realised as she raised her blistered, oozing hands to stare at them, her. Her stomach spasmed violently, and with a shuddering gasp she rolled over, black spots dancing wildly across her vision as she noisily vomited, coughing unidentifiable red lumps over the side of the bunk into a thick, bloody mass onto the floor. Thin strings of blood-flecked drool trailing from her lips, she groggily watched the vomit begin moving around on the floor, starting to inch its way back up towards her, before she lapsed back into welcome unconsciousness. Matrix is back online again. Huh? Cass managed. She's conscious. She swam into view, giving her a weirdly dissociative out-of-body feeling before consciousness faded once more. Pain. Got that one locked down. She was drowning in her own blood. Smacking crap, I don't... Get that. Which? Thought we'd put a stop to that. Okay. Bright. Alive? Shit. Smegging hell, finally. We were wondering if you'd ever come around. What? Cass managed. Her voice sounded weird. Welcome back. Blinking furiously, trying to focus, Cass turned her head towards the woman's voice. We lost you 9 times. Took some serious smegging genius to stop you being dissembled. Cassandra strode into view. You, Cass began. Yeah, the other woman smirked. I'm you. Butler figured things were going horribly wrong and fished me out of cold storage. Thanks again for sticking me in there, by the way. You've got me to thank for your continued existence, and him for thinking quickly enough to go get me. Cass groaned and sat up to swing her legs over the side of the bed, dislodging a whole host of trailing cables and tubes festooning the bunk, triggering several emergency alarms. How did it go? She asked, holding her hands up to look at them. They were different. Cassandra sighed. Good and bad. What? Cass snapped, immediately worried. Not bad for you, the other woman retorted. The procedure succeeded, only it took a while longer than we expected, owing to a few unforeseen issues. How long? Cass asked, starting to pull infusion tubes and monitor cables away from her skin. A month? No shit. Yeah, I've had you in a chemical coma for ages while the process completed. Other than that, okay? Yep, sound as a pound. The door opened and Butler strode in, clutching a couple of grocery bags. Finally up and about, he acknowledged, depositing the bags on the table. Looking good. Cheers, Cass smiled. Let's see how good, shall we? She stood a little unsteadily, and tried a few tentative steps across the room to the mirror. Her new body was almost exactly the same height and build as her old one, but even then, there was still a host of subtle differences that reminded her that she wasn't at home anymore. The person that greeted her in the mirror was exactly who she wanted to see. Tall, skinny and blonde with a good bone structure. There was no mistaking who she was, even after what she had just done to herself, down to the DNA level. Brilliant, she breathed. Yeah, aren't you just? Cassandra smiled from the other side of the room. You owe me, by the way. Big time. A massive explosion rocked the ship. What the smeg was that? Cassandra screeched, struggling up from the floor. Explosion? Cass dryly suggested. Butler was up immediately, pulling a couple of hyperkinetic flechette pistols out and flicking the safety catches off. Bugger me. Cass raised her eyebrows. Where did you get those bloody things from? And do you fancy a job as a bodyguard? Come on, he rumbled as the room started slowly filling with a pool of blue smoke. Get dressed. Time to go. The three of them, by common agreement, made their way from the stateroom, up through countless levels of emergency stairs and onto the main promenade, only passing a single technician on their way. He gawped as they rushed past. Hey! Hey! He gabbled. It's you! It's... Yeah, Butler snarled before they were gone. The promenade itself was a scene of chaos, screams of pain mingling with the smoke, filling the air from the numerous small fires burning here and there. Civilians and crew members alike were busying themselves, helping the injured and dousing the flames, while others just milled around, seemingly dazed and confused. From the look of it, way down the promenade, the emergency pressure doors had deployed, closing off what Cass estimated was the aft third of the ship, red lights flashing balefully in the far distance, signalling only bad things for the red light district. Shit, Cass and Cassandra both murmured in unison. No time to gawp, Butler growled. Move. Reluctantly, they turned and swept down the promenade. Some few people recognised Cass as they rushed past and stopped to point or just to stare at her. Cass smiled politely, but kept her attention focused on keeping her new body moving forward without falling over. Finally, they burst into the drive room, interrupting a grim, grey-faced Captain Chrysler, snapping orders at his underlings. Bad time for a state visit, I know, Captain. Cass smiled warmly. What's the situation and how can I help? Even in spite of the anguish she was feeling, Jay's mouth fell open. Hi, Jay. Cassandra smiled, blowing him a kiss. The drive room was silent for a moment before someone with the gift for the blindingly obvious shouted what everyone else was thinking. Smeggin' hell! It's Queen Brittany! This podcast is a work of fiction and is in no way endorsed, approved, or even liked by the creators of Red Dwarf. For more stories and information, visit bluedwarf.co.uk.